Okay, dysfunctional hook. This is a AA type thing, Al-Anon type thing. I was amazed. I was researching this using Pixely or something, an AI thing, and they don't really address a dysfunctional hook. They address the word dysfunctional and they address the word hook, but it doesn't seem to be a term that the psychologists use. Maybe it is, but I have never found it. I have a collection of about 800 dysfunctional behaviors that I started collecting almost 36 years ago. As I got sober, they said, Andy, you're dysfunctional. I started isolating them and making specific things. But one of the biggest ones is a dysfunctional hook. And the reason why I'm talking about it is because right now in the United States, the dysfunctional behavior is growing at like a epidemic, pandemic level all around the planet. The whole planet at the same time is becoming addicted to dysfunctional behavior. Now let me explain what this hook is. Okay, emotional people. We all want to act like we're not emotional. Guess what? 99% of everything we do is emotional. Even the desire to eat food is what would you call it? An emotional thing, right? I'm hungry. That's emotional. You have a feeling. I need food. Okay, so what happens is, I'm Andy Lee Graham. I've lived abroad for 25 years. I've lived in 114 countries for 25 years because I'm emotionally capable of travel, okay? It has everything to do with emotions, okay? Because if you can manage your emotions, you can do about anything. Okay, but management of emotions means that you can say no, okay? So what a dysfunctional hook is that it's an emotional twig. Somebody says something emotional and they provoke you. And that provoking turns into a reaction, okay? So they're hooking you into a conversation. So the signal is, when somebody gives you one of the provoking things, you can just go and say, you're trying to hook me, you're trying to bait me. And I bait people all the time because this is conversation. It's also banter, it's also teasing, and it's joking. On the other side is you have two sides of it. You have the trolls that are evil, okay? They're doing it to be powerful and to make you look stupid. So in the 14th step is never say or do anything that would make another person feel weak. That's their goal. They want to make you feel weak so they can make you go down and they can go up. Okay, so this whole cancel culture on the United States is just a power play, okay? So why am I talking about this today? Dysfunctional hook. What is a dysfunctional hook? It's somebody, there used to be a girl that worked in Columbia Street West, and I really liked her, okay? And I would say, I'm angry at you. And she would go, and she'd walk around and come back and go, why are you angry at me? And I go, well, I'm angry. And I was doing, I learned many years later that this is called a neg, okay? In pickup terms, this is called a neg. And if you do Mystery Method or any of these pickup artists, all they do is appeal to dysfunctional people, okay? So they're really trying to pick up people with problems, okay? They're not trying to pick up a well-functional person. Now, how many people are actually functional? I don't know. I used to think I was the only dysfunctional person. I've realized that right now I'm having trouble finding what I would consider a functional person. A functional person isn't going to say provoking things just for kicks, right? There's a point where when you know somebody, you banter back and forth, and yeah, you can say these things. But when you just meet a person, that's just a power play. But a dysfunctional, provocative statement that they'll sit there and have, if all you got to do is just read any of the titles on CNN, Fox News, BBC, any news source there is, and all it is clickbait. There is nothing about news which would be factual. Even NPR, public radio and stuff. These things are just hokey. I subscribe to a bunch of science newsletter, and they're hokey too. They're all declaring an opinion, a fact, and then that opinion is always said in a way like the end of the world. Michael Crichton writes about this in A State of Fear, a book. Everything, these words that are catastrophe, terrorizing, they're terrorizing words. Okay, so you can make a person afraid. So making a person afraid is a much easier way to get somebody to read something than actually tell them something positive. I'm trying to tell you how to be functional. A functional person says, hey, let's go to dinner on Tuesday, and the guy says, I'm busy, whatever, or the girl says, I'm busy, and she goes, but she offers a functional thing, or she just says, I don't want to go to dinner with you. But what they normally do is 99% of people think that it's absolutely okay to lie to somebody. So you only got 1 in 100 maybe that's actually functional enough to say, I don't really want to go to lunch with you. I don't really want to go to dinner with you. The other 99 are operating on this lie basis, which the essence of dysfunctional behavior is a lie either to yourself or to another person. Okay, so functional people are brave enough to say, I don't want to do it. Or they say, well, I can't do it on Wednesday, but can we do it on Thursday? And then they functionally come to an agreement really fast. The highly dysfunctional person says, call me later. That's the ultimate way to figure out you're talking to a dysfunctional person, is they say, call me later. Now, if you gave them 2 options and you said, maybe Wednesday or Thursday at 7 o'clock, and they say, well, let me think about it, let me check my schedule, then I'll get back with you in a couple days or an hour or something like that. That's a functional thing, right? There's all these exceptions to these rules, right? But the truth is, 99% of people, in my opinion, are highly dysfunctional. Why? Because instead of woman up, and being brave anymore, everybody lies to everybody, okay? So the world now went from a stand-up greatest generation after World War II to this Zoomer thing where they actually brag about being a troll. They brag about being a liar. They brag about these things. Candace Owens, please, I really want you to be president of the United States, and I want you to stop interviewing these losers, okay? Try to interview people that are actually part of the 95%, not the 2% that are trying to wag the dog. 2% of the people in the United States are trying to keep from getting canceled, so therefore they make everybody feel guilty. Understand again. 2% of the people want you to believe that what they're doing is normal, which is functional, and it's not, okay? Having sex, well, I guess 2 dogs don't do this to each other, okay? But humans do, okay? But what the point of this is, functional conversation is when somebody is not hooking you to be emotional about something. So if they're trying to get you angry, if they're trying to get you lustful, if they're trying to get you hungry, if they're trying to get you any emotion, it's not really a functional conversation. Because, don't get me wrong, you could sit there and say there was a train wreck yesterday and that could be a real topic, right? That's not a dysfunctional thing to report the news as it happened without the hyperbole, the words. I used to be the only channel I could hardly get in a lot of countries was either CNN International or BBC. This is before I was watching things on my computer. And something would happen, right? And the words that would be used on CNN would come out basically first time with the straight facts. Then they would add more, right? And then by the time it came out, by the end of the day, the words used had went to extremely explosive emotional words meant to think, and they actively choose these words to upset you, make you angry, make you happy, whatever they're trying to do. Don't trust me. CNN, Fox, all these companies make money by monetizing your anger. So does Facebook. So when Facebook is in Twitter or X is on the news and everybody's complaining about it, that's actually advertising. And so they like this advertising because that is how they make their money. They make their money by making you angry. But the minute that you hear something that is like a guy hammering in the background, it's amazing. This country is got to be one of the noisiest places. The only place I've ever been that's noisier right now than Panachel or Lake Athlon is Iquitos, Peru. Okay, Iquitos, Peru is noisier. Okay, but this is by far becoming one of the absolute noisiest places I've ever been in my life. Okay, but when you read something, ask yourself, is there an emotional section to it? Is it an opinion or is it fact? I'm hoping in the future that AI can come up with a virus, anti-bullshit things, and people can say, just give me the articles where they're actually trying to be honest. Like, I'm always laughing. Why would I read an article about something where there is no writer to actually look at his profile or her profile and say, a reputable person writing, right? And because that's just clickbait. But clickbait is dysfunctional. And when you click on it, you are being dysfunctional too. So a person sees clickbait, they get tempted, they get hooked into it, and do it. So what is the solution? The solution is only click on things that are obviously not meant to inflame you. Because if you want to get angry, you're a dysfunctional person. To want to see that in life, there's part of the problem and part of the solution. Okay, part of the problem, like Ben Carson made a real good speech the other day to CPAC, which is some sort of conservative thing, and it was very, very concise, very clear. He identified the problems, the social problems in the United States right now. What we didn't do is, what is the solution? It's like he's asking everybody to stop being dysfunctional at the same time. And that's not possible, okay? They don't even understand that they're dysfunctional. They just do it. And so the easiest way to not be dysfunctional is to do nothing. And the absolute simplest way to have a functional lifestyle is to say no to most everything. And then when something is obviously a benefit to you, obviously something that's going to make you a better person. See, a good article or a good video is meant to make you a better person. If it's not making you a better person, having knowledge of all the evil on the planet isn't necessarily making you a better person. It's just saying, you're addicted to problems, so we're going to tell you over and over and over and over there's social problems in the United States. I hope most of you watching this video realize that the United States is in trouble. It's in radical trouble. I don't see any solution at all, other than to say that I'm a tribe of one, and I don't have to be, I can wash my hand. Henry David Thoreau said that when you got something like this, you don't have to make a decision on what to do. Just wash your hand of the situation. That is what a functional person does. When you wash your hands, that doesn't mean you hide from it. You basically may read some of this stuff, this news going on, but you just wash your hands of getting either angry or reacting. It's the reaction that's dysfunctional, because in the book, I'm okay, you're okay, what happens normally is all about somebody saying another person's not okay. You see that they constantly do this with Biden. He's not okay, he made another gaffe. So what? He's an old man, right? Yeah, I don't want him to be president, but he is an old man, and we're not going to be able to change him. We can't. The things that are functional, you can change. Things that are dysfunctional, you can only talk about. Functional things can change. They can compromise. They can become better. A dysfunctional thing is just talking about the problem. So I really appreciate Ben Carson's thing, but I really want him to focus hard on the solution. So what is the solution? The solution is not to do anything. What we have to do is stop giving these trolls and these, I don't know, all these different types of 2%. I mean, you got people that I never see that are with purple hair doing all this stuff, white supremacists, and things that don't exist becoming mainstream media. Okay, let them die for lack of interest. Nobody, but you can move and do nothing. Okay, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to react. You don't have to try to stop it. You don't have to, because that's what they want. A dysfunctional person wants you to react. They provoke you to get a reaction, and you give a reaction. Therefore, you do it. When I have a person that is actively trying to be a thing, I erase them. I ghost them. I put them out of my life, and I never talk to them again. If they are not looking out for my best interest, they're not a conscientious person. They're not having the 5 C's, conscientious, caring, contiguous communication with me. All they want to do is get a rise out of being mean. And mean-spirited people, there's no shortage. And they're growing. I really think that because the reason why they're growing is there's no consequences on a social network. Social networks are meant to monetize anger. And, to get somebody to actually come over and beat you up on a social network, all these wimps, these really, I don't even want to call it, there's a number of people that have no respect for themselves. They are a zero in the world. And they're anonymous people, and they are trying to act like there's some sort of great merit in being a jerk anonymously. That's the king of dysfunctional behavior, to be anonymous. A functional person says, hey, my name's Andy Lee Graham. I'm from Orland, Indiana. I've been blah, blah, blah. And they start telling you everything about themselves because that is the start of a relationship. Anything that's less than that is the opposite of starting a relationship. If you're not proud of yourself, if you don't even want to say your last name, you are a zero. A person that's anonymous is a zero value to the world. You're dysfunctional. But how do you deal with this zeros in the world? You don't give them the time of day. You don't reply, you don't answer, you do nothing. It's so easy, just do nothing. But can you stop yourself from being tempted to be hooked into a conversation? When somebody does that, just go like this. You're trying to hook me into a stupid conversation. But people say provocative things to try to be intelligent. And there's nothing intelligent about trying to hurt a person. Because you're not ever going to form a team. You're not going to form a marriage. Telling your wife everything she's doing wrong, telling your husband everything they're doing wrong, doesn't make them a better person. Being a great example on how to do things is a great way. Having conversations that are open and honest and caring is the difference. But when I hear somebody talking with contempt or disgust to their wife, I know that they're on the way to a divorce. There's a real good guy that does a video about this. Contempt, there's the 4 horsemen of things. One of them is disgust and contempt. Disgust and contempt coming out of a person's voice. You should never, ever talk with a person who's talking with disgust or contempt, or starts raising their voice as if the harder they talk, that's control. Anger is control. Okay, so when a conversation is not friendly and whatever, why are you talking to them? Can you say to yourself, why am I having a conversation that isn't? A lot of ministers and preachers and whatever want to make you feel guilty. I used to sit there and laugh at the preacher in the Nazarene church in Orland. He'd start getting red. He was screaming so hard. My mom and dad were angry at me because I wasn't listening, and I go, I really can't take a person serious that wants me to start crying and thing, because they're not appealing to my love of the world, they're appealing to my fears. Okay, I'm not going to ever fall in love with something that is trying to punish me. Okay, it's just not the way work is, but people do, and that's because dysfunctional people are attracted to dysfunctional people. Okay, dysfunctional hooks. It's a fun thing, and all you got to do is remember when somebody says something provoking, just start going, you're trying to hook me into your crap, and then stop. just go do something else. Leave. A really strong person's capable of standing up and going, I got something better to do with my life than talk to a evil mongering person, right? Okay, I'm Andy Lee Graham. I'm here and you're not. Why not? I'm going to go to Colombia on March 11th, go through the Darien Gap and see what the truth is on there because it's fun. Life is good. I'm here and you're not. Why not? Hit that subscribe button. I have a Patreon link. If for some reason you believe that the messages that I give need to be promoted, and it's very hard to make any money anymore. So for me to have a great life and to be able to make these videos over and over, I need to fund it. There's a Patreon link in the description, and it's a way of saying, Andy, I believe in what you're doing. That's all. And people that have different levels can have communication with me because I'm not really communicating with anybody unless they're a straightforward, first name, last name, straightforward person. If you try to be anonymous, I have no use for you. I have no use for anonymous people. I think they're a zero. Okay, hasta luego. Ciao. Hit the subscribe button. Have a good life.